Business, bright lights. We have an update on the dual language seal of biliteracy. Our students are here tonight, and we'll start it off with Dee Garcia giving us an introduction. Thank you, Dee.
Hello, everybody. Is this working okay? Can you hear all right? Okay. It's nice to be back again. We come every year. We've come every year since 2017 to celebrate the graduation of our multilingual scholars. The three students that are here before you have earned the prestigious Wisconsin Seal of Biliteracy Award. They are three of 87 students this year, and in total in the past 3 years we have graduated over 150 students with this award. So I would like to thank this board for always being very supportive of our multilingual programming, including our dual language program and our advanced placement options for our linguistically talented scholars. Okay.
Hello, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Diego Benitez. I'm the one in the middle there. I went to Banting, then I went to Harding Middle School, and now I'm going to be graduating from South High School. I plan to go to Carroll College next year and study pre-law and possibly political science.
All right, good evening, board. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. Well, I'm Renan Rodriguez. I started my education here in Waukesha at Higher Elementary, and from there I went to Horning, and both were great schools. I loved it there, and currently I am at South and am graduating in a couple days actually, so that's exciting. I plan on attending UW-Madison, and although undecided, I kind of have an idea of where I want to go, and one of those options is possibly education, and maybe one day serve amongst you guys.
Good afternoon. My name is Frida Albiter, and I am a Waukesha South graduate, graduating from the Health Academy there. I went to White Rock Elementary School, and then I went to STEM Saratoga, and I plan to go to UW-Madison next year and major in biomedical engineering.
First, we should ask ourselves, what is the Seal of Biliteracy? The Seal is an honors award for graduating seniors who have demonstrated global competency and the ability to master English and other languages, recognize their own and others' perspectives, communicate ideas in English and another language, and take action. Our Waukesha community is home to students who speak 48 additional languages to English.
All right, so to touch a little bit more on that, some of the benefits of the Seal of Biliteracy is that it allows you to become a bilingual, maybe even trilingual like myself. I did Spanish, French, and English. And it allows you to become a more globally competent person because, believe it or not, there's a whole world beyond the United States, and it's important, to be interconnected with it, and it'll bring you a mountain of opportunities that I cannot express enough is important if you want to go far. And the way you actually receive it, it'll be on your diploma. On the piece of paper, there's a little seal, the Seal of Biliteracy, and it just signifies that you won the award and earned it through your hard work.
So the Seal of Biliteracy is honored in and transferable in 23 states in the United States. Many of these states have had a Seal of Biliteracy for a number of years now and graduated tens of thousands of students whose vital signs are skills we recognize tonight.
So as you're enjoying the visual image of these scholars with their multiple achievement awards, including their participation in AVID and honor societies, and with their seal, would you like to show them the Seal of Biliteracy Award that you got? This is the first ever that we've had a Waukesha emblem that was created by the talented Mary Jo King. When we first did the Seal of Biliteracy, we had 47 students graduate. The bulk of those students were students from South High School. This year we had 89 students graduate. It included West, North, and South. And while we have a lot to grow on at North and West High Schools, we are in a thriving environment at South that supports our multilingual and linguistically talented students.
The Global Education Achievement Certificate, or GIAC for short, is another award that recognizes students for their participation in their coursework, service learning, and have taken 4 years in global language. The GIAC demonstrates global competency as students that have the award have proven that they can investigate the world, communicate ideas to a diverse audience, develop their own perspective while acknowledging and respecting the perspective of others, and take actions to meet a need.
All right, so one of the requirements to earn both the SEAL and the GIAC is 20 hours of community service. And with our 89 recipients of the award, that came out to be, I think, 1,720 total community hours. And if you think about that, that's an enormous amount just from this small group of students. So what we exactly did is, for example, I went to the STEM Randall campus and hosted French lessons for the, I think, first graders, third graders, and the fourth graders too. And what we did is we had a presentation, we had different colors, we had basic sayings like what my name is, what's your name. And it wasn't only limited to that, like my peers did one-on-one tutoring, we went to different churches to volunteer, and just a grand variety of things, and some of it will be showcased in the video we have here.
It's supposed to be sound. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Well, we'll just enjoy the visual images.
You could sing, Dee.
I could do that.
Chairman, I think that's out of order.
It crossed my mind. So you can see that students here provided service all across our district for young children, for middle school children. There were several students that, this is Diego. Where was that?
Yeah, that's me. That was at the library.
There's Amalia. She was working at Higher Elementary School, teaching a newcomer student how to read and write in Spanish, and there he is reading. I can't say more than this, that her service with him has saved his life. He is a literate child now because of her dedication. You can see them engaging in activities that are intended to support students creating greater depth in what it means to be a world citizen by studying people who are influential, etc. I think this is Summit View. All of the students engaged in lots of research and in order to meet the standard of investigating the world. Many of them did this through their coursework that teachers here in the School District of Waukesha value affording students choice in how they engage in inquiry, and a lot of our students, because of their preparation, have chosen to investigate issues which might affect us locally but also impact our global population. This is at the library, the public library. These are higher students. So just a short video. Sorry we couldn't hear the music. Okay. It says ending slide. They will ask you questions.
Okay,
This
cool.
is your opportunity to do that. Does
Any
our committee
questions?
have questions?
I do have questions. I have to be recognized first.
Go ahead,
So,
Mr. Brown.
Ernan, you speak French too?
I like to think I do, yeah.
And besides French, for the rest of you, the languages?
Well, I am native to Spanish, so part of my decision to pursue French was that I already knew that language, so why not go ahead and add a third that can be beneficial to me, you know?
Refrito Diego, Spanish and...
Spanish and English.
So, the depth of our language instruction, I mean, from French, do we offer French at all the at the high school level in your school? So let's take Spanish first, since you all are familiar with Spanish. So what's the difference in Spanish dialects across North and South America? I mean, can you guys easily converse in every country in North and South America in Spanish? Or is there some countries that's harder for you to?
Well, definitely, I feel like there's just like in English, there's some people that speak some dialects that are a little bit harder to understand, definitely. But overall, it's the same language. It's not that difficult to, start picking up on like what words mean something. Like I remember one time someone said, "¿A dónde está la guagua?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" I speak Spanish. I don't know what this guy's saying, but he meant, "Where's the truck?" So definitely there's different words that represent the same thing, just like in English. But it's not that difficult to understand, and that's another thing that the programs that our school offer help us with, because we read, stories from Argentina, stories from Spain. We start picking up those words, and even like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever read like Shakespeare. You start picking up after a while, even though it's torture, but no, it really helps because you start understanding like the roots of the language and how it's evolved, and you definitely see how it evolves in certain regions as well. Just like Argentina, as an example again, has a rich culture of natives and Italians, and obviously they have a certain accent and different words and a different culture. But just by reading our literature, their literature and things like that, we start understanding them. Just like in English, where you just read a book and you start immersing yourself into a different culture.
So just to follow up on that, I mean, I've been to Chile, and I can guarantee you won't understand a word of Spanish in Chile because they crowd their words together so much. It's very hard,
probably.
Right? And then French, familiarity with the difference between Quebec French and French French?
Oh yeah, we've even experienced this firsthand in class. We had a lesson where we listened to this Quebec mayor talk on an issue about water because it was relevant to Waukesha. And after the first listen, just about everybody in the class was confused. But then the teacher explained to us that there's these different dialects, and it's important that we realize that. So we gave it another listen, and we found that just like your example about Chile, that a lot of the words are put together, so it's harder to understand. Essentially, the same thing was happening there. And so we got a better idea on it, and we were able to do a sheet and everything on what he was talking about, and overall we comprehended a lot better than our first exposure to it.
Does one of you want to address maybe the ethnic and cultural backgrounds of your teachers over time?
I was in elementary.
Yeah. Like where have your teachers been from?
Well, like I said previously, I came from White Rock Elementary School. I was actually the last fifth grade class I graduated before they closed the school down. Most of my teachers came from Hispanic backgrounds, but I did have teachers that were not not Hispanic, but they would teach dual or they would teach ESL. And they had to get involved in the culture, and I could see that their Spanish got better as our English got better, just because they were involved with kids with that much difference throughout the entire year. And then moving on to when I was in STEM, I had one teacher, which was a Spanish teacher there that was Hispanic. Her Spanish was very good, and so the kids there got a good experience with her. And then now that I'm at Waukesha South, I think I'd like to say we have a good body of different backgrounds in teaching. We have a couple people who are African American, and we have others that are Hispanic and stuff. And my Spanish teacher, she's actually from Spain, so that. There again, where you were saying about the dialects and stuff, that's where I first got exposed to Spain dialect and how it's different from what I use at home, because my parents are from Mexico, so the dialect is a little bit different. So it took me a while to get adjusted to it, but I think that I'd like to think that I've mastered it by now. So.
Great. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I also like to add on to that. Like, teachers usually also like to show off their culture, just like everyone does. I remember when I was in elementary school, I had a Puerto Rican teacher. She was like an assistant to my first grade teacher, Miss Hole, and she would always, teach us songs from Puerto Rico. I remember she taught us one about coqui, which is a frog, a native frog, and it was like coqui, but it introduced us to, well, not only an animal that we didn't even know existed, but songs that are foreign to us, but essentially tell the same story. All kids learn different ways, but we essentially get the same outcome. But I think it is very well enriched by different cultural experiences.
Mr. Bromkar.
You guys all speak English beautifully. Did any of you start your education not speaking English, speaking just Spanish?
Yeah. When I was young, I went to Mexico, and then I came back, just not knowing any English at all. Well, very basic English. I remember one time a kid came up to me and he said, he was like, "Do you want to play or something?" And I was like, "Mom, this kid doesn't know how to speak." That's how foreign English was to me. But I picked up on it really, really fast. Just like reading books. Reading books was probably the main way that I started like learning English, because I remember the teacher would make us read like a book a week, like those little tiny books. But I mean, they made a really, really huge impact on me, and I still love reading to this day. I read like a book a month just because I just really like literature and seeing other people's perspectives, different cultures, and just being a more well-rounded human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I come from an only Spanish home. So I came into kindergarten in White Rock. So White Rock had a big body of Hispanic kids, of Hispanic students. So we all kind of took the same path of ESL throughout our 5 or 6 years that we were there. I want to say that my kindergarten, it was all in Spanish, but by the time that I was in about 4th grade, the teaching was all in English. So every year they would incorporate a little bit more English so that we could start getting used to it. And I think I mastered it pretty well, but now I see, for example, my brother who's in a dual program. I had the chance to see kids that must have been 1st or 2nd grade who are fluent in both languages. And I feel like that's really beneficial for all kids, just because that way they get the chance, like Hernan had the chance to study a 3rd language when he was in high school. I feel like that just opens up the doors to all these other kids who maybe don't come from a Spanish-only home or something like that. And that just opens up the doors for them to be able to obtain a 3rd language instead of waiting.
Thank you.
Mr. Cuomo.
Thanks, Greg. First of all, congratulations on all your hard work. Hats off to you guys with all the efforts that you've put forth. And enjoy these last few days. Just be present, take it all in, and just really enjoy being with the people that you've grown up with and the teachers, and celebrating your graduation and all your accomplishments. Just out of curiosity, are any of you planning on taking a foreign language at the college level?
Well, I plan to double major in Spanish, just because I feel like there's not a lot. Well, first of all, I don't think there's a lot of biomedical engineers out there and biomedical engineers that speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would put me at a higher level. So I hope to test out of most Spanish and just take a couple classes so that I can finish with a minor or even a major in Spanish when I'm done with college.
And perhaps it would allow you to maybe work in other countries too, if you wanted to.
In regards to me, it's almost certain that I'm going to be continuing French, because the fact is that if I did well enough on my placement test, which I feel very confident on, I won't need that much more coursework in order to earn a minor in French. So that's the ideal plan for me. That is the plan for me. And so, in short, I do plan on continuing.
Excellent.
I actually plan on picking up Portuguese soon. It's very similar to Spanish, but just like any other country, Portugal and Brazil, I believe, that both speak the language, but they both have very, very rich cultures and backgrounds, and I'm very interested in their music, things like that, and I just want to learn it. I don't know if they offer that at the college level. But I'm definitely going to go check it out. If not, I'm going to figure out how to learn it. But no, I want to be one of those like people that just speak like at least 4 languages, because he's always showing off like his French and things like that. I wish I knew French, but no, yeah, I definitely do need. I will take advantage of Spanish, because obviously I want to study pre-law, but in the long run I want to perhaps get into government, be a politician, something like that. And as a lawyer, it definitely helps being able to communicate with your clients and not having any misunderstandings, and being able to relate to them, obviously, because we come from I can assume that they're going to come from very similar backgrounds or situations, and I'll just easily understand them. And if I do become a politician, again, you want to be able to cater to a very large crowd, and if you can speak English and Spanish, obviously the people that you can reach out to will be much larger. So definitely, language is a very, very useful tool, and I don't know if there's that many people that speak Portuguese in the United States, but why not?
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys are continuing on with your foreign and native languages. I need to do both there, actually. Dee, the last time I was on this committee, this was just a vision of yours, these 2 awards. And you have seen it through to realization. And this must just be very rewarding to you to see these students here presenting at the level they're presenting and doing the things that they're doing.
Okay, so thanks for acknowledging that. The first year I felt that when we implemented these awards, a lot of the work was on me to build capacity at the sites and to build community with the schools. For those of you that remember the first students I brought in, I knew those kids in and out. I knew what they wanted to do. I'd read their essays. I knew everything. That's not the case anymore. I have 3 global education advisors, 1 at each of our high schools. So Leslie Abruzzo is at West High School. Senora Myers is at South High School, and Tim Smilenick is at North High School. And what they do is they provide the scaffolds and supports so that the students understand what they're signing up for and they get support along the way. There are very rigorous requirements for meeting the School District of Waukesha seal of biliteracy, and they are unique from the state requirements. Our students have to write 2 academic essays, 1 in one language and 1 in the other. They also have to go through a battery of exams, and they have to prove at the advanced level on those exams. Some of them it's the AP exam, others it's the Apple exam, as well as the ACT and other exams that they have in English. In addition to that, they have a service learning component. No other graduate in the state of Wisconsin is required to do all of those things. The state seal is actually a little bit more relaxed than what students here in Waukesha have to do. And I made the requirements for this seal rigorous, and I also made them something that would require our students to work with the community. As you know, we will be in a situation in the future in which we need to look to these youth to become teachers and community leaders, healthcare providers, and I needed them to be in touch with our community so that they feel like they have an opportunity to come here and have a life in this community, rather than, say, having to move to Costa Rica to be a biomedical engineer or move to Milwaukee to become an older person. So it was really important that they had those components in place.
Thank you for all of your effort and your team's efforts. Well done.
Thanks.
Comments? Ms. Roddy?
Yes, a comment. Congratulations. You're dripping with pride around your neck, and I love seeing it. I'm actually fighting tears right now just with the amount of pride that I have in you and your fellow students. On top of your linguistic accomplishments, something I notice of all 3 of you is how well you carry yourself and the confidence that you have. I love that you look up, you look at our eyes, you look at all of us, and with all of those and the continued support of your families, you will go far. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do. So congrats.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, thank you so much, Dee, for all your leadership, for all the students here tonight, as well as those that couldn't be here. This was certainly a bright lights that was worth seeing tonight, and I wish all of you the best. You guys are going to move mountains. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you've done, and congratulations on all your accomplishments. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.